Welcome, everyone, to the Husk Valley. All right, I'm going to be your DM. I'm Dave. I want to introduce you to a couple people before we get started. These are going to be our amazing players and good friends of mine. Now, this is something that we've all worked hard to put together to create an accessible platform for all members of our of the tabletop D&D community, and more focused on those independent artists that struggle so hard to get their content out there. But we're doing it a in a fashion where it's going to be entertaining for everybody. Now, so we're going to start off. The screen that you see are some lovely commissioned art pieces of our main characters um, that will be playing in this campaign. And one of our players, Nick, who should we be giving the shout out to?
Paluxury. So we can also we'll tag in the description below. So if you're interested in the art, definitely go look at him. Very great to deal with, just very timely, and put a lot of care into these characters. I fed him a lot of information, and you could kind of see the passion that he put in.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So we're going to do a quick 60-second, 90-second speed introduction. I'll start on the top left. The character you see is going to be Bliss, played by my very good friend Mike. He's going to just introduce himself a little bit, and then generally about the character before we go into a deeper delve into the character. We're going to follow that sort of format throughout the rest of the recording. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so real quick, my name's Michael. I've been playing D&D for quite a while now, and today for this specific campaign, I'm going to be playing a character called Bliss Kai. We have a half-elf rogue. There's going to be a very special twist with this character where he's able to summon these set of cards that are very magical in nature and have various types of traits behind them. So it's going to be very interesting on how this character comes to life within the campaign.
Awesome. Oh, to jump onto that, so in the spirit of creating this platform for independent artists and different home brewers and play testers and all those, in the spirit of that, some of these characters, some of these races, these backgrounds, some subclasses, they're going to be content that I created, and they will be available for free through the duration of our session one, which will be announcing the date, as a thank you to the community for showing us support and getting this going. Mike will be playing the rogue card player. Next is going to be Reno.
Oh, so hey, I'm playing Loreno, or also Hope. He goes by Hope for the most part, but my real name is Nick. I've been a long friend with everybody here for some time now, and I have been playing D&D for a long time and have been DMing. And Dave and I talk about DMing all the time, so I'm very excited for this. Loreno's definitely interesting. He is a warlock that's not going to be taking Eldritch Blast. I've always wanted to make the Hexblade Warlock work, and I think I found out how. So I definitely have some good ideas for him in the future, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him grow.
Awesome. And next is going to be my lovely wife and best friend Ashley. She's playing an amalgamation of a homebrew race, a homebrew subclass. I took a couple of her favorite interests and themes, and I kind of shoved them together. We're both originally from New England, from Connecticut. We love the fall colors, so this is a very harvesty, pumpkin kind of themed druid. The Circle of the Harvest. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Ash?
Hi, so my name is Ashley. Just like my lovely husband said, I started Dungeons and Dragons when he got into it because at first it started out as an interest of like, hey, it's something that we can do together, and I wasn't super interested into it. I just wanted to hang out with my husband more. Jokes on me because now I love it. Uh, and my acting can kind of shine through, which is awesome. I will be playing a sloth druid. Like my husband said, he put together a new class for me, which is basically a sloth person because I'm obsessed with sloths. And yes, the druid that I'll be playing is also called the Druid of the Harvest because if anyone's like me, very New England, I'm your, basic bee. And so I love pumpkins in fall. And so we are going to try to roll that into our Dungeons and Dragons game. And I am the token girl in this campaign.
Thanks, Ash. Next is going to be another Nick. Nick, why don't you introduce us to Oren?
Well, my name's Nick. I'm also from Connecticut. I play a lot of Skyrim, so this guy is going to be straight from the Nordic country. Orin is another homebrew class. This is a particularly interesting subclass of sorcerer that's called the Incorporeal Soul Sorcerer. So this is a guy who has been touched by a dark entity and who now has, these arcane powers. So you'll see he has a nice scar across his head from where he was touched very violently by this entity. And he's going to have a lot of cold magic. He's going to have a lot of like rustic, more earthen tone magic because he's a lumberer. And I really just can't wait. He's a very quiet, very sort of pious, like family man, but I'm thinking that there's a bit of a fighter in this guy. So can't wait to see what he does.
I hope so, or you'll be making a lot of death saving throws. Dylan, Dylan,
I always
why don't you
do.
introduce yours? I know you do.
Yeah, so I'm Dylan. I've been playing D&D with Dave for about 2 to 3 years now, and it's been great because it's been online, and I'm all the way from Colorado. To see my friends back from the East Coast is great. My character, Yorik Baum, he's going to be a rock gnome artificer, and he's going to be an artillerist. The main idea I had for this character was I really wanted him to be so out of touch with what he's really good at. So I wanted him to be intrigued by all these mechanical objects and trying to fix them when in actuality he just ends up blowing things up. So he's at some point during the campaign is going to find his true nature of being really good at this destructive power. But right now he's just still in this mood. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with that.
Excited, buddy. Excited for the explosions. Last but not least, the only complete homebrew level 1 through 20 class that's being played in this campaign. My good friend Tim. Tim, why don't you explain what this crazy class is a little bit before we go deeper into it? Introduce your character and yourself.
Okay. The Witch Doctor I was drawn to because I really like the idea of it, which the artist absolutely nailed in the art. Basically, I can cast from my cauldron, which I haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but I think that's pretty cool. You can switch out spells and regain your spell slots on a short rest, which is huge. And I really like the subclass of the Witch Doctor, the Psychedelic, which does a lot in psychic damage and illusion. I'm pretty excited to play this character. It jumped right out at the page when you had created like 20 or 30, and I was like, oh, this is the one. Like, this is what I'm gonna play, and it was the first one I knew I was gonna play.
Awesome.
My name's Timmy Smith. I got into Dungeons and Dragons at a young age. I was probably like 12, and I would play with one friend, so he would DM, and I would make characters, and he would kill me. We were bad. I'm like 12. And then I didn't play again until last year, the pandemic, which was awesome. It was like the saving grace. I met most of these people here, and it's like, you couldn't be social, and you couldn't go out, and you couldn't meet new people, and we did, and we bonded, and it was awesome. I did read a bunch of R.A. Salvador books. He's an author from Massachusetts, and this is kind of what this character is based off of. He writes about a drow elf from the Underdark, so really excited to play this character, and I can't wait for this entire campaign.
Awesome. So now that we got the introductions out of the way, I want to set some ground rules and introduce, or I guess introduce, we'll say that, or just put everything out on the table, what my expectations are, what you guys can expect. This is for the viewers, and this is for the players. For the viewers first, we're playing some Dungeons and Dragons. There's going to be some consistent rules here. You know, I'm not a rules lawyer. You know, I tend to lean towards the rule of cool. However, there's most likely going to be some homebrew stuff going on, some calls, some homebrew calls, stuff like that. Especially if it's fun, especially if it's interesting, it's going to make us make things exciting. But yeah, now for the players, this campaign, Whales of the Husk Valley. This is set in a dreary birchwood forest laying in a low valley that many of the residents, the denizens, the hardworking denizens of the bustling and slowly growing village of Fairwillow have made home. Now, this is a land of superstition, curses, and fear. But when I say fear, I'm not talking about oogie boogie scary or, you know, our normal fears, fear of heights. No, we're talking about primal fears here. Fear of the dark, deep water, unknown. Fear of what's after. These are the sorts of themes that we're going to be exploring in this campaign. And it's going to pair very, very well with the mechanics that I'm going to be running, where they're going to be an interpretation of survival mechanics. And I'm going to lean heavily on things like encumbrance, the elements, making sure that, hey, someone better be awake to stoke that campfire, because if you wake up in the middle of the night taking a long rest, and the deep chill of the forest and the ground seeps into your bones, you might not experience the full benefits of said long rest. Or if you don't eat, you're hungry, or you're walking in the heat, you might fall out. There might be some Constitution saving throws being made. Also, for you spellcasters, just want to be fair. I'm a generous and a caring DM.
Naturally.
That's why I'm giving you the ability to cast your spells that have material components for the first time. After that, any material components that have a gold value are going to have to be sought after. Any material components that are mundane or a little weird, we can dedicate some downtime activities amongst the group to get some things done collectively as a group. An example of this would be, hey, I'm going to take Kashta out to the cave around the hill, and we're gonna gather up some bat guano. All right, that's one thing. But later on, if you guys want to conjure a beautiful hero's feast and require a diamond-encrusted bowl worth a lot of gold that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, you're gonna have to seek that out. You're gonna have to find it. That's just to put out there, just to be fair. What else did I want to say? Oh, also for skill checks, this is a hard and fast rule that we're going to do. Now, and this is something where you should get to know each other as a party, as a character, know what each other's expertises are. It's okay to take the back seat a little bit, let somebody shine a particular role where their character really fits that role. I'm not saying that it's in every single case, but I'll explain. Skill checks. If you're making a skill check, there's going to be times, an allotted time before you can make another skill check. Also, if Bliss is using his thieves' tools and he's proficient in thieves' tools, right? Now, you'll have the option based on the situation where if you could have two people roll the same check, where, let me explain. We have the artificer who perhaps he's proficient in thieves' tools, I don't know. And then you have our rogue that is proficient in thieves' tools. You can have the artificer assist the rogue with picking the lock. gain it, and the rogue would gain advantage on that check. Or the rogue can say, I'm really not feeling it today, fail his check. Now the artificer would be able to step in and make an additional check. But there's going to be a span of time before those checks can be made again. So there's going to be a penalty on those failed checks. It's not like, all right, we'll have him do the check, we'll have her do a check, we'll have him do a check, we'll have him do a check, we'll have him do a check. No. When there's a particular situation that comes up that requires a skill check, the people can do the roll at advantage with a primary and a secondary, or you can have one person attempt it and then a second person attempt it. That's what I expect in these rolls. For the players, we already talked about this before. We're going to please put your phones away. You guys never had that issue in the past, never had to bring it up, but I'm just going to put it out there. Put your phones away, put them to the side. And for our viewers, when we do start the live stream, I plan on doing a 15 to 20 minute break in the middle of the stream, depending on how fast things are going, where we're going to go right through, we're going to punch right through the first hour and a half, take our 20-minute break, and do another hour and a half, 2 hours at the end, and that's how we're going to go. So any of you players out there, if you can hold your your body fluids for an hour and a half, try to do it for the break, so we're not distracting to the viewers, because this is supposed to be an immersive environment for them. So now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you probably already know about us through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Now, I highly recommend that you check out our Twitter and our Facebook as a link tree, also to our DM's Guild account. We have several different products on there that are currently playtest products. Are very, very cheap, starting at 99 cents a piece. If you want to start adding some of these homebrew things, you like our style, like how the content sounds, you want to try some things, you missed out on the giveaways, you can. It's still affordable to struggling players, struggling financially players. And we're always looking to help people out. If you really want to play something, you lack the ability to play or to try it out, we'll send you the copy if we have to. We want to share with the community. Now, last thing before we turn it over to the players, really fun part, we're going to roll some stats. We're going to roll for their money. We're going to do a discussion where the players going to talk and nitpick with each other a little bit and really see how they all fit together in this crazy, square in a circle, hole, peg thing, whatever the analogy you want to use. But this is what I wanted to say, and that is at the beginning of each month. So how we're going to do this. We all work crazy schedules. We all have different jobs and obligations, things like that. We're going to try to dedicate 2 sessions a month, right? They might be Thursday, Friday, same week. Might do Friday, the ends of the month, the beginning of the month. One might be Monday, one might be Wednesday. It's going to be all over the place. But we are going to, with the conjunction with our YouTube, we are going to break up all of our sessions into bite-sized hour chunks where you guys can keep up with everything despite how all over the place our streams are going to be. And also, each month, it's going to be up to each of our players where we're going to recommend a charity, where whatever the charity is, it's going to be run active for a month. Any of the proceeds that, any of the products that we sell during our live stream, during that time frame of the live stream, through our DM's Guild account, we're going to be donating to that charity. So, and that's going to be up to the players to suggest. Now, any of the players have any questions for me?
No,
Let's roll
pretty
for some
spot on.
stats, yo.
Let's roll for some stats. All right, so because we started with Bliss at the beginning, we're going to start with Kashta at the end. So Kashta, so this is what I want you to do. All right, we're going to spend the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. This is your time to. You can spend all 10 minutes. You can spend 15, whatever. Just let's try to make sure everybody has ample amount of time. Now, this is what I want from you. I want you to explain the general concept, right? And this goes for everybody. Explain the general concept. What are you going for? Hey, I want this I'm going for this hermit who hasn't been seen, or the locals, they tell stories of this shadowy figure that dwells in the hills in a hollowed out tree, and you can just hear the shrieking laughs over a bubbling cauldron in the middle of the night, and the children are told horror stories about the kooky 300-year-old witch doctor who lives just beyond the hill. Now, that's concept. Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. So, next, what do you think your role in the party is going to be? Are you going to be a manipulator? Tank? Face of the party? Healer? The tank? DPS? Whatever RPG's term you guys want to use. It doesn't matter to me. So, the rest of your party members can say, hey, you know what? That supplements what I'm thinking of. Hey, I might want to be on the front lines. I might want to be in the middle. I want to be in the back. Whatever. We're going to roll for your stats after that. So, we're doing something different here. I like my heroes to be heroes. So, we're not doing our normal stat rolls. What we're going to do is we're going to roll 4d6s 7 times. I'm sure other DMs have done this before. Drop the lowest number for each set and drop the lowest set. Now, if you really roll low, you get a bunch of 5s and 6s and all this craziness, we're going to default to standard array, the 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to roll for money. Each of you guys are going to get 4d4 gold. So you're getting. You roll for that. Briefly talk about your spells and abilities, like I said before. And as you're doing that on your end, not the viewer's end, but on the back end, you guys just add all that stuff in your character sheets, so I know what I'm looking at. And then Chris Truly is going to just move on to our outro and thank everybody for tuning into our YouTube and starting to plant this little tree in the fertile soil that is the D&D community ground, and grow this beautiful tree of sorts. Sassafras tree.
Yeah.
It's
Sassafras
a
tree.
sassafras
This Ivern tree.
Ivern tree. That's a discussion for another day.
Sassafras. Ivor.
So, Tim, your concept, buddy.
I picked a Drow elf who was exiled from his tribe after speaking out against the Drow goddess Lilith. He then finds a female necromancer, a blind orc, who's been wandering the Underdark for years, and she teaches him necromancy. And in his love for her as a human, he tries to restore her eyesight, which is how he gets into the psychedelic magic. And he makes a deal with a necromancer goddess named Chella to get her eyesight back, and he has to steal eyes from a mummified legendary necromancer, and it basically replaces her eyes. So what happens, Drow see on the infrared spectrum, so they see heat, right? Because the Underdark has no lights. It's a pretty cool concept. And she gets this new passion. She wants to enact revenge on the people who sold her into slavery when she was blinded. And she brings him to the surface, and he becomes blind. And she dies in her ambition. Like, she's just not strong enough, and she dies. And he has to take the pact he made with the necromancer goddess. Essentially, she owns his body, and she uses his body as a vessel, and she goes across a bunch of astral planes. And then when she returns back to his plane, he's grounded, and he now has the eyes because he was blinded when he came to the surface. Anyway, I'll post the background too, so you guys can read it. It's pretty in depth.
Damn.
But basically, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna basically try to play for psychedelic damage, and I kind of want my character to be like the voice of reason. Like, he's very freedom and self-preservation are huge. So, like, maybe we can we don't have to fight all of the fights, and we can run away and maybe make deals with certain people who
Run
We,
away.
we shouldn't be making. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Oh, if we're gonna die, I'm running. This is a survivalist campaign.
Run
We
away.
running. Yeah. I'm really excited for that.
I was also gonna ask, is psychedelic damage the same damage
it's-
stat as psychic damage?
Yeah, it's psychic damage.
Oh.
That'd be sick though. Can you imagine psychedelic damage?
Like,
Like,
whoa.
Dude,
Permanent trick.
I am spacing my guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be cool.
That's
how
when
do
I
you
go
want
to
me roll
Camp
for this?
Isco.
Awesome.
How should we
I
roll?
think that's that time.
All right, so it's about that time. So go to so in the roll 20, you're gonna see the die roller.
Yep.
So you click on that advanced roll. Just roll 46, and hopefully it should pop up in the box. We'll see. If not, it's Nick's fault.
It will. Oh, it will.
Nice.
All right. So the first one, you're gonna drop the 1. So dude, you rolled a 7.
Hey, you get to, straight
So
home.
jot that. Yeah. So jot that 7 down. All right. Do the next one. Okay. An 11.
All right.
Respectable.
Or a 9. An 11. But you're rolling D4s, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I was about to
oh,
say.
It's
I was about to
4D6.
say.
Oh, my bad.
Dude, come on, roll.
Take 2.
Take 2. All right.
Take
So roll your
2.
4d6. It's D6.
I'm wondering
Sorry,
why
I had
your
I had
rolls
the
are terrible.
4D4 in my head for
He
money.
actually had some pretty decent rolls for,
EJ was
really
using a lot of
for
tools right now.
D4s.
Can we
No,
just
right,
use
for
that
a
as my
D4,
goal?
I
Is
mean-
that 4 rolls? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 rolls.
Dude,
I'll drop the highest one and then
no,
we'll just
that,
use.
No,
roll the
dude.
d6s.
Wait,
You gotta do the
okay.
6s.
All right, sorry.
The 6s.
Alright, okay.
Or I'm not gonna dog you like that.
Roll a 6.
All right. An 8. All right, not bad. One better than the first time. Last time.
Yeah.
There we go. 12. Getting there. 10.
It's the same rolls.
12. And a 10.
That'll be a 10. A 13.
13.
That's 7. So I'll drop the 8 naturally.
Now,
And I
would you
think
like to take the standard array?
I don't know what would be more beneficial. I have 3 10s, 2 12s, and a 13.
So the standard array gives you a 15, a 14, a 13, a 12, a 10, and an 8.
No,
Don't want the standard array?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Okay.
First upset of the night.
Mo.
You should start working on your secondary character.
We'll see.
Oh my god.
hey,
He's not
hey,
kidding.
hey. I mean, he doesn't have any flaws, so.
That is true.
Yeah, he's like a middleman, like complete middle right there.
Yeah,
All right.
I need it. I need all of the things to be even. I can't wear armor.
So now let's roll for your money. Let's do 4d4.
Okay.
$11 gold pieces. So now let's have a little bit of a discussion. Let's start asking some questions from around the table. Let's you know your concept. You have your own concepts in mind. You have any questions for Tim? Like, is he? Hey, is this a frail class? Is this something where you're going to be at the front lines in the back? You know, what sort of personality traits? This is what I'm going for. My person is self-centered and conceited, and the other person is selfless. And having those two people, is a kind of unhealthy relationship. So, any questions?
Yeah, well, Tim, so you mentioned that you'd be like probably the person to run away and that you can't wear any armor. So does that mean that you're going to be more of a supportive class, or are you going to try to be like middleman? Like, what are you going to try to work with that?
Yeah, definitely, probably more of support,
Support.
and like damage per second too. I think like is going to be pretty good with the psychic. But
Cool.
mainly in this class you can make packs. Like I can make packs with all of you,
Yeah.
and you can. I think it's later on in the class, but you can get bonuses by making packs, and then over time,
Well, oh, sorry.
they stay
Finish.
solid. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's interesting because the way I'll mention it like more in depth when I get to my character, but the way I'm playing my character, she's all about loyalty and she's gonna be a support as well. So that's very interesting.
Again,
you might-
it's probably.
What kind of spells are you brewing up in your cauldron?
I haven't looked yet, just simply because we just rolled stats. But I was definitely thinking things. I have an ability. That would stack really well with a couple certain spells. So anything that does psychic damage is going to be huge. Mind Whip. Mind Spike.
So the ability he's referring to is a first level ability where he gets a pool of d6s that are going to increase with his level. Now, as an action or bonus action, I have to double check. He's able to expend these die and force the target to make a saving throw. And he can choose if he wants to make a strength saving throw, dexterity, whatever, all the way down, all 6. And each of them have ability. So if you're fighting a bunch of giant orcs, you know, he might, hey, let's make some strength saving throws on these guys, or let's make some intelligence saving throws on them. Really, like, hinder their strength or hinder their mental ability that's already really low. And it basically does more damage the more psychic damage they do. So that's basically what he's doing. Taking advantage of the weaknesses of his opponents through these die casts.
So if we're drawn into battle, and since your guys more on the frail side, and you're kind of like, obviously there has to be some sort of self-preservation. Like, are you more drawn to just cowering away and hiding, or?
Oh no! I mean,
Picking
I
up and
definitely want to be
helping.
a part of combat. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, we're in combat. Screw you guys! I'm going home. No, that wouldn't. I don't feel like that would be any fun to play at all. So I am gonna try to do the most that I can, and do the most amount of moves and the things that are gonna benefit the party always. But there, obviously, if we are up against something that is just gonna turn us into mush, guys, let's get out of here. Oh, you're not coming? See ya. I don't care. Like, that's just how I'm gonna play my character. But mostly it's gonna be like a, hey, let's be aware. Like, do you guys really think we can take on this at this level? Or
Yeah, an adult red dragon at level
Yeah.
1.
yeah, listen, maybe not a good idea. Maybe let's survive this.
It's alright. Hope's got your back.
Yeah.
What did we just
awesome.
run into? A dragon, level 1. How did we get into that scenario? What the fuck?
Have you
If I
met our
say-
DM?
If I say that there's been rumbling rumors of a slumbering green dragon guarding a horde of the last several generations of adventurers that have made the arduous trip down the Fairwood River through the swamp up to the lake. And you go, you know what? I think that's a good idea. We're gonna go over there and mess with the dragon. I'm
See?
like, all right, be my guest. Go mess with the dragon. Go wake him up. Wake him up
At level 1.
at level 1. And we'll be playing a new campaign. All right, Tim, if that's all you got, and there's no other questions, we'll move on to Dylan.
Sounds like a few online RPGs I could mention, where you go into a cave level 1, you just get your crap rocked immediately. Oh, you want to be good? Pay another $30, please.
Egg ground beef. Egg ground beef.
Nice.
So what do we got first, Dill?
Yeah, so my character, I really wanted to. It started as I wanted to play someone that was like a demolition expert, like just hurls explosions everywhere and knew what he was doing. But through a progression of the campaign, I wanted him to start off with like, oh, he's more interested and intrigued with the world, and he likes to focus on fixing things or working on the innards, and it more turns into him blowing stuff up by accident. Which soon he'll realize that his real gift is making these objects that could just hurl damage. But Yorgbaum grew up in a broken household, and pretty much this revolving door of like father figures that he saw always hurled insults at him. So for him, like hearing these insults, or he thought nothing of it because he doesn't see the malice in people. So my character will definitely be hurling insults at friends, unknowing like how abrasive they actually come off. So it's more of like, oh, you're my friend, so I'm just gonna like insult you all the time, thinking it's like a friendship thing. But yeah, so one of his father figures saw him tinkering in his room one day and just blowing stuff up. So he enlisted Yorick to help him fix a safe that he worked at in a bank with. And instead of fixing the safe, I blew it up, and this father figure ran off with all the money, jewels inside the safe, and I was left to be taken away by the authorities. So I've escaped the authorities since, and my journey has been to kind of find revenge on this father figure, but also, again, life is fleeting, so everything is just interesting and curious to Yorick. So he will definitely take the time to look at things, see where things are going in life, and just that sort of nature.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's how I'm going to play him more as a supporting role, and also, like, again, he throws explosions around. So until he figures out what his actual mastercraft is, he's going to start off with more of a supportive type of role to make tinkering tools to get people better in combat. Like one of the things I was thinking of, jump is a great spell, so to tinker some sort of like spring-driven wooden hind legs like a cricket and attach that to a character to make them jump better, that's like a cool invention that I can make and give to someone else in combat.
Love it.
Are you taking this like obviously seeing no malice in people, but like how far is that going to be taken? Like obviously you help someone fix a safe, but because they were close to you, you thought that like does that mean you're tricked very easily? Like you're clearly going to be an intelligent person making stuff that blows up, but
He's definitely more of a like the homebody type person. Like think the new Peter Parker always tinkering with toys in his rooms, not really being able to do like the athletic endeavors. But he's been fooled once, so he's a little hesitant. But again, he still sees the good in people. Like if you're bad, I still think there's some capacity that you can be good, even if it helps your self-interest.
all right, that's cool.
Cool.
I was gonna say one technical thing, Jorg, is if you could just leave Discord and come back. Your mic is or your video's running just a little bit behind. So that's gonna shift everyone on the screen, but it's gonna be something really quick.
Oh.
Yeah, and then just throw that video back on.
Turn on camera.
I have
There we are.
have a
How's that?
question.
Perfect.
For-
Spot
I have a
on.
question
So I
for
might,
you,
I might
Dylan.
call that every now and then. So
But yeah, so other than that, like I thought a cool start to Yorg was like the two cantrips that I'm gonna use are Mending and Produce Flame. I think maybe just for the first level, second level, it'd be cool if, oh yeah, I'm gonna go fix this thing right now, and if I roll like 25% of my rolls or half my rolls, it's gonna end up producing Flame rather than cantrip of Mending. Just because
like
he's
that.
still getting used to of this. I'm more of a explosive expert rather than this fixing guy.
I like it.
Oh boy.
Hey, Tim, you had a question for Dill?
Yeah. So like, other than like what would be your attacks essentially? Like, what can you do to deal damage?
So
I know
the
you had
biggest
said-
ones that I'm gonna do is Chaos Bolt. That'll be my first level spell of tinkering. I haven't figured out what I wanted to tinker yet, but there's definitely gonna be some sort of clock that I'm tinkering. and hurl it out, and it's going to send this certain type of damage. I think it's like I roll a d8 to figure out what damage it does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's random every time, or after you select it one time, you can reselect it.
It's random every time. And then there's other like supporting spells that I do. Fairy Fire, that's a good one where it just creates like a 20-foot cube of a ranged outline of the objects or the characters that we're fighting. So it just gives advantage to other people to get those attack rolls.
It's going to pair very well with Mike in his sneak attack. So, how about we roll some stats?
Yeah, let's do it. That's why I came here.
4d6. D6.
46. Coming out hot.
Damn.
All right, dude.
Coming out
A
hot.
15.
15, 46.
What the fuck?
Dude, I'm gonna get sick.
All right,
18.
an 18.
Let's see. 46.
There we go.
All right, 13. There you go. Back to
Yeah,
normal,
yeah.
back to Earth. This is an XRP. We're not going to the moon. Sorry, 10.
I'm going to the moon.
Don't even.
He's gonna explode himself up there.
Wow.
12.
Nice.
Alright.
Ooh, 11.
And
You
11.
do drop the lowest.
That's 6. Oh, I got one more.
That's it,
Yeah.
right? Is that
Yep,
all of it?
nope, that's the last one. So 11s are your lowest. You have 2 11s.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think I'll drop the 11, Cotton. We'll do that.
So yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
And roll your
And-
4d4.
44. 9 gold.
Wait, how'd you get 10?
What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry, 10 was your lowest. So
Yeah,
you,
oh, yeah,
it would be,
10
it would
was
be,
my
it would be
lowest.
2 11s.
2 11s. Good
Yeah.
catch, Nick. Good
Hey,
catch.
for the audience too, Dave said that he's more of the rule of cool. Well, I'm your rules lawyer guy, so I'll be here to help.
He's
you
the
know.
rule of rules.
Bring me back to Earth. That's what it is. All right, cool. So, Dill, you got your stats, your ridiculous
got it.
stats. Hey, hey, and Tim, if you want to change to standard array, be my guest.
Yeah, I might. I might,
So,
or I might just play it how it is. We'll see.
Hey, either or.
I'd be a
so-
feat champion.
All right, next. Actually, any other questions for Dylan?
Oh,
right,
my Dylan, or my Dylan, my dearest Dylan. My question to you is, for like an artificer, like what is your capacity of artifice? Like, do you know what materials you work with? Are there any materials you need that like we would find in the wild?
So yeah, so I went over this with Dave, and it's all based on common folk. I think the 1500s was everything was common.
So yeah, I have the list. So essentially, like state of the art technology in this land. Like people are like, oh, might as well be magic. Is like 1780. Like think of like the advent of the steamboat.
Like,
that.
could he conceivably build like a firearm or something?
Absolutely, yeah.
My main thing is building clocks to do all sorts of fancy things.
Just think of it this way: the Chinese,
Yeah.
they invented. I think what it was. I was looking this up. They invented multi-stage rockets and like
Oh
the,
yeah,
Yep.
like. So I mean
like ancient
firearms.
China.
I think
Yeah.
Yep.
no, firearms came about in what, like the 14th century? Like I could be wrong, like the 13th century.
I
Whatever.
think the rough workings of it was around that time.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, to the average common folk, like you're looking at like 16th century, like you're looking
Cool.
like that's what we're looking at. Like it's not like, the more think of like the Renaissance. Like people are still like living like
That's Perfect.
They might as well be living in medieval times, but you know, these things
so-
exist that nobody has access to.
Well, I mean
It's just-
that brings to mind like the Janissaries, like the 1500s and the Ottoman Empire. They had like the first rifles.
Yeah.
So if we ever come across like some bad boys that need rifling, but yeah, that's all I was wondering is what we're working with as far as artificing.
Yeah.
So I had a quick question too, kind of about his spell casting. Now that we were talking about spells, and I just thought this would be curious. And so we're going to be looking for or searching for our materials, but for the artificer class, right? They narrate their spell casting as building something. So is Jorg possibly going to have different material, like technically different material components,
So, no, the material components for the spells are going to be the same.
or okay.
Now, the way that I look at it is when an artificer prepares spells, right? Prepare spells. Yeah, they prepare spells. So the way I look at it is during a long rest, when the artificer is preparing their spells, they're going, I want to cast this spell today. I want to do this spell today. He is crafting during that long rest little gadgets and do-wits and hooty-dooties and whatever, right, that will mimic or emulate or cast the spells for him. Now, the fuel that powers these gadgets are going to be those spell components.
Okay.
Like, that's how it's going to work. But, I mean...
So do I need the extra material of like, okay, if I have this clock be a bomb, like, do I need that, like,
for the casting of
components the
spells,
clock?
no. For the casting of spells, no. If you want to manufacture something that is unique to the rules of the game, if you're like, hey, I want to build this, then I'm going to say, yeah, you're going to need some hardened steel. You're going to need, hey, you can't just make this with Smith's tools. You're going to need a forge. You're going to need this. Like, for the purpose of the spell, I'm not going to hinder your ability to utilize a class feature, like casting spells, like spell casting, just for the sake that, it makes sense. No, we're not going to do that. I mean, if you want to manufacture something, hey, I want to watch that, I don't know, this, a sundial that shoots up into the sky and displays the time in the clouds. I'm like, okay, like maybe we're going to have to find something special for that. But if it falls within the lines of the spells, I mean, the way I look at it is, hey, I have this idea for this, so I'm going to put this together, and we'll try this out. And then that's the gadget springs to life, and the magic is emulated or cast. So that's how I'm going to rule on it. Dylan, if you want to add some flair or reskin that, go be my guest. But as for the spell components, the material components of the spell are still going to be required.
Perfect.
So we're going to move on to Nick. Nick, why don't you tell us about Orin and his concept and how you're going to play him, and tell me.
Well, Orin is our, as far as I know, resident human. Are there any other humans in this group? No one else. Wow.
No,
Dang.
I'm Reddit got horns.
Human race represent. So, I am a human commoner with a lawful good background. Now, this is literally the first time I've ever played anybody of this caliber. Usually I'm like, chaotic neutral always. I just do what I want when I want. I'm my own main character. But this guy is very much a man of the people. He's like a guy who's been sort of like in the capacity of an alderman to the town, but he just works at the lumber mill. So really, he's going to be a homebody townfolk man who has no interest in magic. The three gods he prays to are Shantea, the goddess of the harvest, Helm, to protect the guards, including his own son Eric, who is on the town guard, which there might be some plot details about that coming. And he also prays to Maliki, who's the goddess of the forest, to keep the trees strong because he lumbers and it's his livelihood. So really, the way that I want him to fit with the rest of the crew is with an emphasis on local knowledge and survival. This is somebody who has spent a considerable amount of time out in the woods, sometimes days or weeks on end, sometimes by himself. So this is somebody who I want to have in the capacity of counsel when it comes to survival. I want him to be able to make fires and be the guy who knows where to camp and where to not camp. What's going to be conducive to our longevity. So hopefully Oren can be that guy.
I feel like we're gonna get along because I also know the wilderness pretty well.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
From what I know about Dave, he's a ruthless DM. So we need to make sure that we survive.
Ruthless.
We need
No
to
doubt.
survive.
How
Is-
how does your character stack in combat? Like, what's your role in combat?
Right. So combat. Okay. So this is actually kind of interesting. What his role would be in combat. Well, Oren is a man's man, and he wields an axe all day, so he's got that going for him. He has a small hand axe that he can use, but he's also been touched by this cold entity, and he's now discovering these powers. So he has, sorcerer spell slots that, again, I gotta really study up and familiarize myself on the sorcerer mechanics. But basically, since it's so dang cold, his spells are going to be very ice and water based. So what was the first one? It was create ice spike or something, or
So Ice
There's-
Knife. So essentially,
there's ice.
how the subclass is designed is the way that I wrote the subclass is this is an individual where like a sorcerer is something like it comes from your blood, and more commonly it's from you're born from magic, or and even sometimes it's interpreted you're touched by magic. In this case, he's touched by magic. He's touched by some strange entity that caused his being, his physical being, his soul, spirit, to be teetering like a seesaw between the lands of the living and the lands of the dead, where he's able to possess people, manipulate things. He is a living poltergeist.
Yes.
If you think like
Nearly headless Nick, or no, Peeves. Peeves is the Harry Potter poltergeist.
but now you have somebody who's, and Nick and I had this conversation, somebody who's intensely superstitious, somebody who's grounded in reality, somebody who is a God-fearing man, who is now bestowed with this power that he doesn't understand, and something that's terrifying. Something that is soon to find out what is the origin of this. But hopefully I hit the nail on the head with that, Nick. Did I hit it right?
Yeah.
I think our characters are gonna be able to bond pretty well.
You know what's crazy?
I'm looking
I
forward
don't
to
mean
it.
to cut you off, Nick. I'm so sorry. But what's crazy is just hearing everybody like how they view the world. Like you have somebody that is very scientific in their view of things with Dylan. Like there's a method to there's a scientific method. There's something that could be manipulated and quantified to produce something. Magic is quantifiable. And then you have Kashta where through the use of their cauldron and breathing in these fumes and making this psychic connection to the astral plane, just pull down the knowledge to cast these spells through their cauldron is incredible. And then somebody who is just like, I'm just magic. That's not me. I'm not magic. There's no way. I'm just a lumberer. Like that to me is just like how you guys perceive the magics of the world is going to be fun. I think that's going to be fun.
So let me give the people a taste, a little spoonful. of the goulash that Dave has provided me with this Incorporeal Soul Sorcerer, and I want to read one of his spells that says Grasp of the Poltergeist. So this is the first level Incorporeal Soul feature. And it says, starting at first level as an action, you can target a creature or object within 30 feet. A creature must be medium or smaller to be affected by this effect, and an object can weigh up to 150 pounds. If the target is a creature, it must make a charisma saving throw. On a failure, you can hurl the target up to 30 feet in any direction, including upward. If the target then comes to contact with a hard surface or heavy object, the target takes 1d6 damage per 10 feet moved. If the target is an object that isn't being worn or carried, you can hurl it up to 30 feet in any direction. You can use the object as a ranged weapon, attacking one creature along the object's path, and dealing 2d4 plus your charisma modifier, bludgeoning damage on a hit. Now, that is something that Orin, again, like, Orin is tough. He's real salt of the earth, and he'll defend what's necessary. But this is going to be a power that alarms him when he uses it, that will perhaps disturb him greatly. So I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen.
Dude, I'm excited too. If no other questions, let's see some numbers.
Let's roll these rolls.
46, please. 46.
Okay. Here we go. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. There's
It's one.
So 4.
D6. Go to
Okay.
Go to.
Oh, so I-
Well, it's still a 4. That's good.
There
we
you
go.
go.
Like
So
that?
what would-
There we go.
So that's a
So-
11.
11.
cool. So I do it again?
You're gonna do this 7 times total.
Okay. Oh.
11.
I'm literally like praying to Helm. during- Guide my finger.
There we go.
God.
17.
Jeez.
Dude, they're up there. The gods are watching, okay? Oh my god. Sweet.
11.
14.
This is money, dude. This is cash money. Oh my
15.
god.
And then last one.
I'm doing okay out here.
Alright. 13.
All right.
All right. Your stats I just listed.
Cool.
That-
So
You dropped the lowest?
I dropped the
yeah.
lowest.
Nice.
now, Nick, roll
Wow.
4d4, and that'll be your starting gold.
Okay, 44. Well, this is gonna be like -1 because I'm a piss poor lumberer. 7. There you go.
There you go. Any other questions for Nick?
I'm excited. I'm really excited because I've seen you in such chaotic roles. I'm really excited for the lawful good, the Nordic. Just kind of, this is my home. This is my family. Like like nothing gets in between me and them. But there's a very large structure to life. I really like that concept.
I got a quick question. Is there going to be so you're obviously afraid of these magical powers since you're a human and you have no idea how it's coming to you. If you use that in battle, is that going to be a deterrent from you to continue fighting, or because you're going to be so almost taken out of battle by dealing with your own stresses of what just happened?
Yeah. Your power is gonna be your downfall.
You know, it's definitely an interesting question. I don't what I worry about is if my powers will hurt people. What is if this is something that will affect those that I care about near me. But if it's we're being attacked, and I have the spirit of the wolf in me. I'm a very animalistic kind of guy. I'm very reserved, but if someone's attacking me, I'm getting an ice knife out and I'm gonna stab them. But this is also something that I need to reckon with personally, and that's a journey I need to take in myself. So
I love
I
it.
was gonna say, so when I forgot who asked, it might have been Dylan, asking like what type of like in combat what you're gonna be, and you were saying that you're more sorcerer. Do you think you're gonna be more situational? So it's so depending on the situation, since you are like a lumber and you have the axe, that you might be like the heavy hitter at some points, but then fall back at others.
So there's gonna be like I'm a guy who's very in tune, not in tune. Like I would say I'm acquainted with the wilderness. So if it's an issue of like we're surrounded by a pack of wolves or something,
Mhm.
like, and
You're
it's
the heavy
something
hitter.
that I can go with conceivably with a hand axe, or if at all, or if it's something that I can't, you know, be like, oh, the wolves are just like wanting us to get away from their nest, so let's
Mhm.
move, or like something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm a good judge of situations,
Horde
but
of zombie babies. Use the
so
axe.
zombie babies is different though. I
Or the
have a
green
feeling we're gonna be
dragon. No.
if we're up. I have a feeling we're gonna be up against more than just the local wolves.
I
So
might
I
have to
mean,
bring back. I might have to bring back that
Don't do it.
that the child. Remember the
Nope.
child that
Yep.
lured you guys to the graveyard,
Oh
Damien,
yeah.
asking for help.
gross,
Ooh, I might have to bring him back.
gross.
So, Nick, that's
Mm.
excellent. I to piggyback on the other Nick. Yeah, this is gonna be fun to watch this this wholesome and like this character
To
like
deal with
develop.
deal with this stuff, man.
Right. So, Ashley,
Hi.
what do we got?
Okay. So, my character is Zula Fern. So, as we talked about before in the beginning, that she is a sloth, which is a homebrewed character. So you could imagine she's a very slow-moving character. Before she goes on this journey, she was part of a farm, and so she is in a farming community. They, are slow work. Even though they're slow workers, they're good workers, and so she has this like huge thing with loyalty. And so this character is all about loyalty, because in the farm, like, you have to count on one another to create the harvest, and that's how they survive. Like, think about just like very lonesome farmers that nothing else is around. Like, they just are like on each other. And so one day there is goblins and bugbears that come in and actually destroy their farm. They grab all the goods and the harvest right before that they were going to take all the food, and they basically burn their town to the ground, knowing that they are extremely slow moving, and there were some unfortunate casualties at their farm. And so Zula, being the different kind of spirit as she is, even though she's very slow moving and like worked with all of the people, she did find that there's like a little bit more out there than just to farming. She was so afraid that she actually prayed to the moon god Pa, I believe its name is, which, fun fact, the moon actually respects women more when they pray to the moon. And so the moon actually gives her these powers so that she can go on a journey to help out her farm, like the lasting sloths that are part of this farm that survived this, to help them gain more money and to replant, regrow, and become the society that they once were. And so that's how I have these powers for Druid of the Harvest, and how I can kind of conjure up things that could help us a lot more in battle than just a slow-moving sloth or sloths. So that's how my character's played. She will be definitely a support role and a healer. That is how she feels. Like, again, loyalty is going to be my biggest part in this game, and so she is going to try to heal as much as she can. But she can help in other situations, like climbing. She's going to be a lot better in, and swimming. She'll be a lot better in too.
I respect loyalty as well.
That's what I was saying. Like, if like definitely going to be a fallback role, but I will respect everyone that has that loyalty pact. That's what I was saying with Tim characters having the pact, and with your character being like the man's man, and especially praying to the goddess of harvest. I mean, we're gonna have a lot in common with this, so it'll be really fun to play.
Sweet.
How do you deal with insults?
This seems.
Well, I was gonna say with insults, quite honestly, how my character is gonna be. Think about she's been at this like small farm. Think about is almost not Mormon, but why can't I think of the name?
Amish.
Amish. Thank you. Like think about
Amish.
almost like Amish country, and
No
like she, like,
sarcasm.
finally, like it will go right over her head. Like she will probably be like, "What does that mean?" So it'll be interesting to actually play with that when people insult me.
Dimwit. How fun of a word.
You're just like a copper piece, two-faced, not worth much.
Wow, goddamn. Nice
So
insult.
sloths are notoriously slow, and we heard a bit of you speaking your character and how it's going to be played out. Do you think it's going to agitate the party of slowing down if we need to be in a fast-paced moving scenario?
I mean, it probably could be, but I don't have that much disadvantage with how slow I am. No, it's not really as bad a disadvantage as you believe. And also, we could always come across with other things. I mean, if someone wants to carry me.
No, her movement speed is 25, which is the same as a halfling or a dwarf or a gnome.
Okay.
So, I mean, and then
Not
also,
like I'm slow, but
I was,
I had to ask.
no, I got you. So it's not like she's gonna
I
be.
just my voice got
So when you
annoyed
say
more than
sloth,
anything.
I just
Think that,
imagine.
yeah.
I was
No.
curious about your character flaws. Like, what's your I don't know, Achilles heel?
What was my Achilles heel? Well, probably again, like I just came from this farm. I've never been out. No sloth's ever been out. So probably I would say trusting too much might be a huge flaw of mine. Just thinking that everyone is nice and kind, just like them. I know that goblins and bugbears are gonna like rub me definitely the wrong way though. Like that's gonna be the one that I might get a little bit more bitter, but especially praying to my moon god. The god is all about not revenge, but just growth. And so a lot of mine isn't really going to be like a revenge. It's going to be going past that and just like trying to help my people. So probably trust. I think trust is going to
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys. Could we all just like refresh our screen, because I'm getting like the 2 squares from like every one of you guys. Just go ahead and like I'm trying to see all beautiful faces.
I'm going to refresh everybody
Refresh on Roll20 or Discord?
On Discord.
on this.
Right.
Where am I?
How does one refresh?
You could just click the turn off camera and then turn it back on.
Okay.
Oh my
There
god.
we go.
Where are we?
Oh my god.
Where is we?
Is this what a
Alright.
stroke is?
It's just Nick Targonsky that I'm not seeing now.
Dave's the one. But
Nick,
yeah,
are they? I mean,
that's-
so Nick T, is it still projecting everybody's image on the stream?
Yeah, everyone's fine on my end.
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. We'll rectify that after if there's an issue. But continue, Ash. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think just trustworthiness is going to be a huge thing. Like, I'm going to probably be very gullible. I'll probably be very trustworthy and just try to connect with others very fast.
How do you feel about
Moving along.
hunting in the wilderness?
What? Oh, I feel very confident in the wilderness. So that's going to be another high point of mine, which I think we will be able to connect really well with that.
Yeah. Cool.
I feel the same.
So you say you're a druid, right? So do you have command over animals? Is that how that noise? So
Yes.
what does the Circle of the Harvest druid entail specifically?
So Circle of the Harvest is basically when I can conjure it, I can actually conjure up like a scarecrow-like creature to help us in battle. So again, as much as I'd be a support, I can conjure like quote unquote friends to help with everything.
So-
and be
so
like
the-
another person.
Way that I wrote the class is keeping in spirit with that kind of fall harvest kind of theme. So she has alternative ways of utilizing her wild shape. So she'll be able to transform or summon scarecrow-like creatures that take whatever form that she like, but that she uses the stat block for a scarecrow. And later on, she's going to be able to, as an alternative form, she's going to her wild shape. She's going to be able to transform into a shambling mound, which is a rather formidable plant creature. Where, for the purpose of the class, it's going to be however she wants it to look. It's entirely up to her. But I'm thinking like curled thorn bush with knobby gourds growing out of it, and just
One with the other.
corn stalks, and just like this immense, just like this pile of just fall that she'll be able to transform
Leaves
into.
everywhere. No. Okay.
Now she'll be she has some area effect abilities where she'll be able to spring forth plots of either gourds and pumpkins which explode. So she's area effect stuff. She has a plot where she can grow these cornfields, which will limit the vision, essentially like a spin on the like a blindness kind of effect. And then the last one is just like thorns, which create this difficult terrain that deal, as you pass through it, poison and piercing damage. So she's going to be controlling the battlefield with these different plots. She's going to be able to grow these different things from the ground.
Sick. So as somebody who worships Maliki, you're gonna be like a godsend. I'm gonna be like taken aback. As someone who's very superstitious too, I'm gonna think that you are like a direct sent from the deity. So I might be fanboying over you pretty hard.
So, Ash, if we don't have anything else, why don't we roll some stats?
Sounds good.
Roll.
D6.
Four
Four
D6s.
4 D6.
Nice.
15.
Starting off hot.
13.
13.
Dude, I'm telling you, pray to the gods, it works.
6. That's a. And 7, right? One more.
One more.
Yes.
Oh.
Dang. There you go.
All right. Nice.
Yes, yes.
Yep. Hey, Tim, we're definitely going to throw you a courtesy reroll because I think yours was just like it was.
Hey man, he said he wanted to keep it.
Yeah, it's a survival campaign. That people are people. They're not always just heroes.
All right.
You
And
never
then-
know. But I will re-roll if you're gonna offer a re-roll.
I will offer a reroll because some of these other rolls are just like through the stratosphere.
No doubt.
Of course.
And then 4d4, right, for gold?
44.
4d4.
Oh,
8.
All right. Any last questions for Ash?
How much ass you gonna kick, you sloth?
Again, I will be able to heal. I'll be able to kind of, like how Dave said, manage the battlefield. And if we are caught in water or climate, I am going to be pretty good at that too.
I'm so
need
glad
like
I'm a
an
healer.
extra long
finally.
rest to recover.
Yep. And she only poops once a week.
I might need to find a nice tree to hang on, but
So Nick,
All
let's
right.
hear about yours.
So, he goes by Hope, although his name that was given to him was Loreno Civ. He is a tiefling who was abandoned at first, and abandonment is a huge theme of his. He has been abandoned by his parents, he has been abandoned by his orphanage, he has been abandoned by his work, and he has been abandoned by the world. throughout his entire life, he kind of grew up trying to make friends. He has this intense need and want to be out there in the world. And did we lose? Oh,
Still in.
Nope,
Dave,
I'm here.
just refresh your camera. Your camera got knocked.
You got it. I'm here.
There we go. So, whatchamacallit, he has this intense drive to want to help out and to want to make the world a better place. He is a neutral good character. So whether it's whatever, it doesn't need to be lawful or chaotic. He wants to seek the pure goodness in everybody and everything. Anyways, he decided, well, if I can't make friends or I can't, make friends with people, I'm going to do something to at least make people like me. And he began crafting, and he was drawn to smithing and worked to perfect that, becoming somewhat of a prominent smith and joining a smithing guild. Within that, he'd see these heroes come in every single day. He'd see warriors come in with bloodied armor. He'd see, soldiers come in with dented swords, and, he'd be working to fix them. And that's always what he wanted. And he begged and pleaded with officers that came in, and they just laughed at him. So, he tried the whole God thing out. He prayed. He prayed to Gond, who the dwarves had prayed to a lot and heard nothing. He prayed to some local gods, more specifically Moradin, a god of creation, and heard nothing. And was fed up and was like, anybody who could hear me, please. I'm asking for some sort of change. And he was heard. To who he thinks an angel named Xerxes. But I can tell you guys right now, although he doesn't know that, it is definitely not an angel. It is something a little bit darker and a little bit more selfish, and it's going to put a spin on his story. Anyways, she asked him to make a pact with him, to speak and invoke her right, and she did that, and she gave him her swords and to be her weapon for this goodness, and for whatever he needs, but as well as whatever she needs. So he left the guild and began to seek out into the world. I know me and Jorg ended up meeting up at some point, and again, he's very individualistic, wants to help out, but is very kind of, in Zula's case, or I guess maybe not in so much in Zula's case, but has that whole trust issue again. He's, although he'll put on a front to everybody and be like, hey, he's able to deceive people pretty well, but to truly gain his trust is something else.
So we'll be exact opposites.
Yeah, and natural, he is a tiefling warlock. I have, ever since I started playing D&D, have always wanted to play a tiefling warlock, specifically a hexblade warlock. He is going to do something later on, precisely at level 4 or 5, which will change his kind of scope. I'm not going to spoil that just yet, but if he survives that long, he's going to be making a massive change. He is the party's brawler. He does plan on being pretty durable, and doing quite a bit of damage. With being the Hexblade and having Hex up and all of these other fun damage stats that he'll get. The one other part about him, just going into the whole band, obviously this guy's got some issues, right? Abandonment and trust and all that good stuff. The only person he does love, trust, and actually it's almost like this weird type of, it's not, I wouldn't call it quite love, but he's got this relationship.
Adulation.
Yeah, he's got this relationship with Cersei that is entirely toxic. Where if she says something, he's not at the point where he's going to go against her will, but it's going to be very rare that he, would. He's most likely going to try to rationalize in his head how she's right and other people are wrong.
Awesome.
So yeah, that is Hope.
I'm happy that we have somebody who's going to step up and punch somebody in the face or stab somebody in the face.
Yeah, everyone was going through like, well, what role do you think you are? And everyone's like, support.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, look at
Granted, they're all
Tiefling
great
warlock,
different
baby.
kinds of support.
Yeah. No, it's funny because the other campaigns we played in, like we've been like gassing for support. We've been like, please, anybody, somebody.
I know, right?
I feel like we're pretty well rounded though. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
um,
no.
like support is I don't know, buffs. I guess
Yeah.
my character would be more buffs and damage. So I think what Dave was saying is right. Like it's a nice, well-rounded circle.
I mean, I
Well,
love
now
the
he's
party
got this
con.
beefy dude, but he's battling his own inner demons. You
And-
know how toxic his own backstory is?
It's
As long as
literally
we gas him up and point him in
breathing
the right direction.
toxicity.
Don't
Like
put
it
that
is an
into his punches.
ooze of. But I mean, that's what I love is he with Jorg, right? Jorg, he has a certain allure to Jorg where he always sees the world as intriguing and everything, and Hope is just like, dude, have you seen the world? It's awful. Are you kidding me? This is terrible.
Wait, so his name is Hope, but he's like a constant cynic?
So okay. He doesn't express these emotions. He internalizes a lot. He
The
again
healthiest way possible.
he wants he wants so much to prove himself wrong, right? That he's been abandoned, that the world is cruel. So, as tieflings often do, they'll adopt virtue names. He chose Hope because he wants to be the good that he sees in the world, or that he wants to see in the world. But all
Honestly,
that he's
Hope-
experienced is cruelty and abandonment and toxic relationships.
Which I think is going to play
And
great.
you get the
because-
worst luck of the draw. Like, as we go through the woods, you're the only one to trip on a stick. As we go through something else, you're
Yup.
the only one to get the pet end of it.
Yep.
and hope that the virtue name is going to definitely complement the overall arcing themes of the campaign I set up for you guys. So it's
yeah.
going to be it's going to be nice. It's going to be this bright yet frail candle walking, guiding everybody through. It's gonna be fun. I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be cool.
trying to, and I mean the ace up your sleeve. As much as he wants to try, he's made a terrible deal with. He sold his soul, so to speak. So he will never be able to catch a break.
I feel like again I would bond on the same level as I would bond with Nick. We have all made some sort of possession pact.
Yeah, tell me about
Yeah.
it. Wedding rings.
Where's yours? Because I think
Got
it's
'em.
the table.
Oh, anywho. So,
Yeah, get
Nick,
clapped
let's roll
back,
let's,
Dave.
let's roll some stats,
All right.
shall we? Before I get beat up.
Yes. All right.
I'm praying for you.
Me too. To Maliki.
13. You're writing them down, George.
I got you.
All right. 10. Okay. 13.
Just like his character.
Uh-oh.
Oh, 7.
Oh boy.
Love it.
Here we go.
12.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
There we go.
Woo!
You really only need one, anyways. I mean,
What's that? 1, 2, 3.
You just got one more.
Okay, 9. I honestly, I love No, I have a
Not
9
bad.
Oh,
somewhere.
sorry. Change that 7 to a 9, and those are your those are
yeah.
your numbers.
I like that. I personally always like a 1 negative trait. So, yeah. That's nice.
All right, cool.
Not bad. That's cool.
Now let's get the 4d4.
Gold, that's right.
The 4d4 gold.
12. I'm a rich
Whoa.
man.
Threes.
Ooh.
Also, oh, real quick,
Watch
this
it
is
all get taken away.
before we move forward. In this world, you have to understand that flashing a gold piece, like a gold or two, is like a week's wage for like a common person. Like flashing a gold piece is the equivalent of flashing like $6, $7, $8,000.
So,
I mean, that's
on that,
a lot.
on that point, is this gold going to be distributed like throughout? Like, so are we gonna have? Could we have like 400 copper and like 40?
Yeah.
Okay,
However
okay.
you guys want to divvy out
Got it.
if you want to do it all in copper, be my guest.
That's
Does
a lot of
money
gold.
count towards encumbrance?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
a lot of
does.
weight.
10 gold pieces is 1 pound.
Just the lumberjack is carrying a sack full of copper.
So it might be
This
it
is
might
my
be
entire
it
life
might
wages.
it may behoove the artificer to start fashioning some bags of gold. Just- But,
Close my window real
all right.
quick.
If we don't have any other questions for Nick, I guess we'll move on to Mike. And before we move on to Mike, I just want to say that no, it's not just the same person, just with a fake mustache going back and forth. And no, this isn't like some nutty professor thing going on. It hasn't been addressed yet. These two, Mike and Dylan, are identical twins. Yeah, I just want to put
Been
that out
running to 2 different screens each time. Here, watch me run to this screen.
And shave and dye my hair.
So go ahead, Mike. Let me hear about Bliss.
Anyways, so yeah, Bliss Kai. I'm really excited to play this character. In the past, I played like the goody good person. I played like the evil, monotonous, like split personality dude, and now I'm kind of going more kind of down the center with this person. So Bliss Kai is, first glance, there's something definitely very unique about this character. You're drawn into like his outward appearance almost instantaneously. He's this gender fluid kind of person. You're not sure, what it is, but there's something about him that draws you in. And growing up, he, like Nick and like Hope, like he was abandoned, just straight up was left to fend for himself.
Hell yeah.
He had no idea of what friendship was, no idea of what family connections were. He was just out there to survive. That was like his only instinct of how to get along in the world, is just like, we're all out here for pure survival. I know nothing else. Like, this is what I need. But even though there was this need for survival, there was always like this longing for some sort of compassion or some sort of like companionship that he was looking for. So he ends up teaming up with one of his friends, and they're pretty much like, they're hustlers. They're straight hustlers. They go up town to town, pretty much getting money from people playing card games, and they'll keep hustling them. People are not really the wise about it, just because they're so alluring and sort of persuasive in what they're doing and how they kind of conduct their craft. And how I really want to play this character, I want him to be like this very whimsical type of person that you meet, but you're not quite sure if it is more of like a good whimsical or if it's more malicious in his kind of own intent. So he's going to be this very kind of wild card as he comes into the party, because he definitely longs for that companionship, that group effort, but he doesn't know how to conduct himself towards it just because he's never had it.
I like it.
But also, hats off to Dave for all this homebrew content, because trying to figure out how to play just a rogue, it just got elevated so much more with this card player that I get to do. So with this card player, it fits very well into his backstory. I get to pretty much make these magical set of cards that just appear, and they're very translucent in kind of like how they appear. They definitely have these magical qualities, but as I draw them, I can either be the support character for healing, deal out major damage, like all luck of the draw with this person.
I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the way that the class is designed is based on the suit. So as a I put in some of the classes that I write and some of the subclass material I write in a box, I'll include like player tips. And the player tip for this one is, hey, you know, when you're playing the game, what's better than having something tangible to really ground your character in reality? And in this case, having a deck of cards. So Mike's going to be playing with an actual deck of cards. And the way that the class is set up, hey, when you finish a long rest or a short rest, long rest, you shuffle up your deck, you draw 7 new cards. On a long rest again, you shuffle them up, and based on the suits, he can throw the cards. They deal extra damage based on the number on the card. Based on the suit later on, you know, hey, if it's a heart, hey, guess what? Throw the card, going to heal somebody. You throw a club, hey, it's going to help with this. It's going to do this. So you're going to have very versatile, and then eventually it's going to have this play on Texas Hold'em, Scoundrels 5, where basically he has his cards. He throws up 5 new cards into the air, onto the table. They manifest, however he wants to say it. And based on his hand, he can play 2 cards and create a variety of effects. 4 of a kind, full house, straight, whatever, and it causes all these different things. Capstone ability, guess what? One of you guys gets 2 cards to play into Texas Hold'em as well as a reaction on his turn. So it's just a bunch of nutty, crazy, whimsical is the best word.
Wow,
card playing.
The sleight of hand with this rogue is just going to be outstanding and just absolutely fun to play. And like you said, whimsical is just going to be the way I want to describe this.
And I think that's another great contrast, a different contrast to the themes of the campaign, because you're going to have a lot of grounded characters. You have you have a realist in their witch doctor. You have a humbleness of Nick Sorcerer. You have some levity in Ashley's character. It's just seeing, you know, hope, you know, just looking for hope, you know, and then you just bring that energy based on you know, it's different. I like it. Anybody have any questions? Like, I mean, like,
Dude,
I just like cards. I like the card idea. That's all I was gonna say.
I
And the
love.
cards, having something physical is going to be,
Good.
that's going to be so cool to actually have and play with. For never experiencing it ever before and bringing it to you guys, it's going to be great.
So, more of a question on like the rogue background. Like, what kind of rogue are you gonna be? Are you like is it like you use your card tricks to manipulate people to get gold? Like, oh, pick a card, any card, or is it like the sleight of hand? Like, hey, look at this card thing I'm doing, and as I take your entire purse, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be played a couple different ways. Like, in his past, like, that was his means of survival. He needed to get gold from people. He needed to feed himself. He needed to find shelter. And, like, for a person who had all these skill sets, this is how he got it done. As he meets and conducts himself with people like you, especially as an adventurer group, like, you'll start to see some of those shifts, and where it used to be very selfish, very malicious, start to change. But it's going to be very situational on what we approach and how we approach it.
I think it would be great because if we're in like social situations where he's taking advantage of people or stealing something with a sleight of hand, like, and gets challenged on it, like, Jorg would just jump up like, no, this is the best person ever. There's nothing but good in this guy's heart. Like, how dare you challenge him?
yeah, that's awesome.
I wanted to ask, so you did mention in your story that you had like a specific friend that you would do this with. Are we gonna like meet that specific friend, or is it like someone that you kind of
Oh
bring?
no, my friend was brutally murdered.
Oh,
That's part of that backstory, yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
as we were were hustling. There was one town that did not take fond of it at all, and yeah, unfortunately, he did not make it out, and I witnessed the entire thing, and that's all I carry of him now. It was his ratted deck of cards that I carry along with me now.
Okay.
Love it.
Dang.
So, if nothing else, let's roll some stats. Let's get some. Let's
Let's
see who can
roll
roll the
some
highest.
stats.
Let's see.
All right,
Let's
let's
see.
go with our D6 for these for the first one. Bam. Oh, wait,
14.
it's not-
16. That's great. 16 is great.
How's that 16?
All right.
Where's
There you
that? Oh, no, I'm sorry, not 16. What am I looking at? Yeah, it's 16. No, it's a 10. No. What am I talking about?
Which one?
What?
The first one.
14.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah, the
14.
first one's 14.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the different one. I'm sorry. My eyes.
17.
Anyways, roll number 3. Oof. 10.
From studying all the ways to kill us, Dave, is why your eyes are so tired.
That's exactly. Just
All right. And then I believe I get one
Water.
more.
oof.
All right. These are gonna be
Those
interesting.
are some pretty good rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 great rolls in there, and everything else is right in the middle, so we can do that. And let's
Absolutely,
get our
yeah,
D4 in here for gold. Let's see how good I am at a card shark.
7.
Terrible
the lowest
card
one.
Down on your luck right now. That's all.
I will be having a good game with all of you to get some of that gold back.
Just bought a new suit.
You'll easily trick me.
All right. Any other questions for Mike?
Dude, I was gonna say when you were not so more of a comment when you were describing just like how your character looks and acts. It like almost reminded me of like, sorry to nerd out, one of my favorite characters in television or anime alone, Griffith. He's this androgynous, just absolute like mastermind who's just like it's really cool to hear you're incorporating that.
That's a great description.
Yeah.
Like our
It'll
comparison.
be good. This guy's definitely a smooth talker because he has to be. He fluctuates a lot of his vowels to kind of lure you into a conversation, and we'll see how it goes.
And before we move on,
So you have a
Dan's
hand
rolling
axe too?
courtesy.
I got a rapier.
Oh no! I was gonna say hand axe is mine. No, yeah,
Hey,
that's cool.
Go ahead and do that courtesy roll. Re-roll your stats there, Tim.
Yeah. Let's get you good instead of bad.
It could get worse.
Let's see. It could get worse.
It could get worse.
Be
Just
hilarious.
one lower than everything that he rolled.
Dude, I saw that 18 I rolled. I'm like, Eldritch Blast ain't that bad of a cantrip.
All right.
But I'm not picking
Here
it.
we go. There we go.
Okay.
Oh yes,
Yes.
that'll do.
Oh man, you just
Yeah.
blasted it off.
You're not even. All right, cool.
I've already rolled. I don't want to eat up any more time.
Okay, it's okay.
There you go, man.
What do we got now? Let's add these up.
That's how it's done.
Sorry, he blasted them out, so I didn't get him back up.
Sorry.
He's like,
So that's a 10, a 14, a 14, a 12, a 12, a 15, and a 12.
Hey, math.
Costa, we're gonna be powerhouses, you and I.
There we go. Perfect.
there we go.
Great stats.
Beaut.
So, now, if anybody has any issues with their character sheets, if you open up your character sheets on Roll20, to the left, you're going to see all your stats. The small circle, just fill in your number there. It should auto-populate this stuff up there. For no, never mind. So yeah, just fill in your stats on your character sheets. If you need help with it or you can't do it, I'll take care of it for you. It's not a problem. So overall, let's just get some final impressions. We'll go back around from Mike, back around to Tim. Just real quick comments, a couple sentences, or whatever. What do you think about the party composition? What do you think your character is? And pick one other character that is your favorite besides yours.
Oh,
Go.
fuck. That's impossible.
So are we starting back with me?
Yeah, so I'm back with you, Mike.
All right, so overall party, I think it's like gonna be a well-balanced mix. Everyone's very different. I think it will be one of our more different ones because you're right. We do normally see everyone wants to be that heavy hitter coming in, and I think we have less of that. But we'll see how everyone kind of settles in when we see our first combat scene. I think the character I'm more excited to see come out is going to be Yorick. I think just the banter alone is going to be hysterical to watch and kind of see how he plays it out.
Awesome. All right, Nick, what do you think?
Dude, I'm excited. I love the whole survival theme and setting and all of that. I really like the idea of having to go out and grab your your components to your spells. I think a lot of DMs are I don't want to say like afraid or they just don't want to like encumber the party, but you set the rule out straight here and it sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like there's a lot of role play possibilities with it. It sounds like there's
It's a lot of fun until you don't have anything.
well, I think that makes for it being fun, right? Like if I have this thing that it makes casting like, listen, I'm a warlock. I literally only have one spell slot, right? Like it makes that spell slot that much more valuable, right?
Point.
Than just casting hex like all the time. Like it really makes you kind of cherish what you have. Be hopeful about what you have.
Wow.
To add on that, real quick, this is also kind of something where the mechanics itself. I mean, the campaigns that we've run, maybe it's just my interpretation of the game and things like that. And I'm sure if anybody's going to watch this or make comments or whatever, I'm sure there's going to be a million of them. But I think that currency overall is a shallow reward. And it doesn't have much use for other than, I need to restock on my arrows. I need to buy this. And I think that, acquiring these large sums of gold it's cool. I got you guys. Mountains and mountains of gold. I mean, you're going to ruin an entire region's economy by absorbing all the precious metals. But I mean, to have to say yes, this petrified newt's eyeball and this little brazier of bat guano. Yeah, it's going to run you 2 silver pieces early on, or I was going to roll you this. You guys are going to have to work together. You guys are going to be pinching some pennies. It's not going to be the primary part of the game, but I want there to be a spellcaster. It's important to me.
That's when
I cannot cast my spells because I need these components.
That's when we get Bliss to start running some games, dude, and we start putting them to work. Hustling those tables, dude. That's how we get our petty cash.
So Nick, who's your favorite besides your character?
I mean, it's the same as Tim's comment. Like this is I'm sweating right now. Trying to pick one. Honestly, I think I just because I think it's so out of character. I'm really excited for Orin. Because I've also whenever I've played RPG games online, I've always gone for that, lawful good, that person that's trying to do right in the world, that sticks by a set of code, and I'm really excited to see how Nick plays that. I would say, quick bonus, I'm excited for Bliss too, just because he's got a toxic past, I've got a toxic past, and usually they tend to meld together pretty well in the worst ways. So
Toxic past.
Awesome. Ash, what about you? How do you feel about
Um,
the party, and who do you think is your
I
favorite?
I think that we are definitely like a more well-rounded party than other games that we have played. Because just like how everyone else has said, like it's either we've had all heavy hitters and no support, or
No
have
healers, nothing.
no healers, or like that. So I feel like
A
we
wizard
really
that doesn't know how to cast counter spell.
yeah. Counter, counter.
Amazing.
Cool.
So I am excited to play this game, to see an actual like well-rounded group. Like we kind of have every component, and see if that's gonna play for us or against us, and especially like backstories. I'm excited to see like how backstories are gonna like work for us or against us. Um, as my other favorite character, I was also gonna say Orin, just because Nick, seeing you play, it's the same as like what Nick Tarnowski said. Seeing you play before, you've always played like this more, how you said, like chaotic neutral character who you're like, I'll do what I want, and like had funny things going on, or always had kind of like a, you know, a different
Drama.
thing going on. Yeah, there's so much drama going on, or
death.
you know, or
You can say it.
you know, you
I
always
make drama.
like you're for the group but not for the group. So I think it'll be very interesting to watch not only you as like a lawful good person, but also playing a human, and just like someone who really doesn't have a lot going, being more the heavy hitter, but also having some of that weird sorcery, not knowing what's going on. And also I feel like our characters are gonna like meet very nicely in the middle, just with the nature-esque like surroundings, and how we kind of will understand a little bit more about that. So that's my take.
Hopefully, I stick with the lawful good and don't go punching faces right off the bat. You know, I'm only so I'm only so patient. You know.
I feel like you're like, I don't know, when you were explaining your character, it almost reminded me slightly of Ron Swanson a little bit. Like that's who I'm gonna say. Kind of imagine just being like, you know.
All the bacon and eggs.
Yes.
Yeah. Right on.
What about you, Nick? What do you think of the party, and who's your favorite?
We're in for quite the rowdy dow. I think so far in terms of party cohesion, I think this is I think we should do session zeros more often, so that we have like a little icebreaker meet and greets. Because this is really edifying for everything that I need to know about the character. I'm gonna say right off the bat, Yorig. I'm a very simple man, so your your insults might get a nice brisk salt to the earth slap to the face. But it's all in good jest.
He's gonna be slapping down.
Literally, I have a Word document right now that's 2 pages long of just lines and lines of insults.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's what you call research right there. That's just scholarly research. That's all that is.
Oh, on a side note, Dylan played a wizard in our last
Why-
campaign,
why
which
bringing this up?
that ran for just about a year. It was a level 3 to 20 campaign, and he literally had a rhyming verbal component for every single spell he cast, which was insane. Absolutely
Every one of them.
insane.
You had like a limerick for every one of them.
Yeah. And same with your familiars, right? Didn't you have like them rhyme?
Aaron,
too?
All their names rhymed within my
Yeah.
rhymes.
Well, that's
Dedication right there.
Yeah.
Very thorough.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah.
You're saying?
Well, you're asking me to pick a favorite character, and I don't. Damn.
Everybody else did it. You got to do it.
All right. Well, I love the card player, because that could actually just be another source of revenue. Honestly, what I'm hyped for is what I hope to achieve in common ground with Kashta. Because here's the thing. As a devout man, necromancy frightens me. And it's something that I would chastise in my everyday life. But I have a feeling that in this survival situation, all of those veneers are going to drop, and we're going to see each other for exactly who we are. And it seems like Kashta is somebody who has a sort of grim reverence or sobriety towards life, somebody who understands the magnitude of life and death, and I might find some commonality in that. I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm a very sort of, not through any faults, but other than just being a holy lumber dude. I'm just sort of, I'm kind of judgmental of people, but I'm also very respectful. So Kashta, we're gonna be homies. All right.
No doubt, dude.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this campaign is we already know how everyone's going to kind of go in battle with like supportive roles and the brawler, but I think the social dynamic of what's going to happen, like who's going to take lead, because like Bliss is probably going to entice people to come in. I'm definitely going to insult people and probably get the party into trouble. Ashley's definitely going to take everyone at face value, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in those social situations and who takes lead and what technically happens.
Can I also just say, thank gods, plural, that we have a healer for one campaign instead of us all just like,
Hey.
yeah, let's just hack and slash and then die immediately.
Pump the brakes. We had Ivern and Than, who was sweating the entire time.
Well, Ivern's in hell.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
look how far
You're
that
not
got
wrong.
him.
Still there. He is still there.
Honestly, my
there.
favorite character right now is still, because I've talked to Nick the most about his character development, and to see someone in such a precarious situation of like, oh, this person's like the best in the world, and they're just like their demon soul. So I don't know. That's probably why Nick is probably gonna be my favorite, at least right now.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hope.
And last but not least,
A new hope.
Tim.
I think the party dynamic I'm most excited about is how much I have in common with almost every character, and how my character sheet plays with the pact making makes your character stronger, makes my character stronger. So like that was like something I did in the voice intro was like, you come to Kashta, like you know, like you need guidance, Orin, you come to Kashta, like you know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be like, oh hey, you know, let me see if I can help you with what you got going on, and you help me. So I'm really excited about that, and I think my favorite character is probably gonna have to be Zula. Like I think that being able to control the battlefield is going to be so huge. And I really like how your character is a sloth and like a farmer. So you're just like a genuinely good person who's connected to the earth. And I think that Kashta might have to be the bitter taste in the mouth for anyone who tries to take advantage. Like, you know, fuck with that sloth and I'm gonna cut you. Like, yeah. I can't wait to play this, especially the role play aspect that is gonna happen from all of these great minds together. It's like, yeah, I'm sweating too. I'm salivating. I'm sweating. I can't.
You know,
fucking-
you know what I noticed? Each of your characters almost fits perfectly in a different how would you put it?
Its own microcosm.
In a single, the development an individual might take over the course of a lifetime. Does that make sense? You have a tinkering child, obsessed, looking around, everything is new, everything is interesting, playing with toys and wanting to create and tear things down and bring things back up. And you have your Jorig. And then the next stage, you know, you have somebody who is, falling in line with family values and coming up, trying to be a part. Like, hey, you know what? I'm getting older, and it's my turn to work together as a family unit. And that's going to be Zula, and you keep on going. And now you have a young adult who's sitting there, who's brazen and cocky, who's at that point in their life where nothing can touch them. Where you have Bliss, but to complement that, you also have a young person who has a lot of self-doubt and questions of themselves, and you have Hope. And then after that, you have somebody who is solemn in their life, who has worked hard, that has like their values and their views of the world are almost cemented and solid. They've been refined to the point where it's like stone. And you have Orin, and then far beyond that, at the end, you have somebody who sees life from all different aspects and views it from cosmically, from the witch doctor. You're looking through the astral plane for knowledge. Somebody who can sit back and wait and watch and formulate and be calculated. Like, it just have that wisdom. To me, that's interesting. Now, you guys are all playing at various points of somebody's life. Like, you just that's going to be a cool theme.
Well,
I think that's it.
I was gonna say, I also find it interesting how you have like points of us who are like so set in like family, in quotations, like family is everything, hasn't been abandoned, hasn't had anything go wrong, like they've lived kind of a good life and they're just going on because they have questions. But then you have others who've been like completely hit down, or not, some that like don't realize they've been fully hit down, and how they're going to communicate in a certain way. I think that will be interesting too, to see that dynamic of like the ones who've been like fully abandoned, like Bliss and Hope, and kind of like where you had father figures like around the clock kind of thing going on. And then you have Kasha is kind of partially both, but then you have me and Orin, who are like very like family oriented, and like our family's never done anything wrong to us, and we see the world in such a different light. So it'll be interesting. And then again, Kasha, you kind of see the world in like all lights.
Family is everything. I damn the man who says otherwise. See? I got
Damn storm cloaks.
Someone stole your sweet roll.
So
I just find that interesting how it's gonna like, pan out.
So
I'm hyped.
I think that and the closing out, I think that's a great closure for everybody. I hope whoever's watching this or watched it after enjoyed it, and will be joining us on Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Saturday, July 24th at 8 p.m.
Let me double check.
It should, because then
Same bat channel, same bat time.
8 p.m. on Twitch. We will be just flooding your social media everywhere just to remind you guys to come, because we're lonely and it's just us and we'd like to have more friends.
The link will also be
yeah.
in the description.
So everything will be in the description of this video. We'll take care of it on the back end with breaking this up into smaller stuff. Well, anyways, but so as a thank you, the first live stream, there's going to be, I want to do something fun, a game, and I also wanted to do something for the community. The community is going to be, for one, I think what ties into, so let me describe what the misfits are. 5% misfits is a couple things. You have a 5% chance when you're rolling a d20 to roll a natural one. 5% misfits, that's it. But I think that being welcomed the way that I have and everybody else has had, going to different game shops and talking to people in person and talking to people online and writing things and whatever, hearing feedback and watching different things, it just shows how diverse and how healthy of a community this community is. So as a thank you, we authored a Party of Solidarity bundle. It fits within the themes of different social issues. It really puts a fun spin on these sorts of real world issues where you can be a champion of those issues. And I think it's for those real life misfits out there. It's fun. We're gonna release that for free on our DMs Guild, and in addition, those of you who join us through the live stream, comment, share, all that other jazz, we'll put the particulars out there. We'll get all the homebrew content that all the players are playing with will be yours for free, and the theme is for the game that we're going to be playing is I'm going to put count them, three Elvis Presley related song quotes, things like that related to Elvis Presley, written into the campaign of session 1.
Nice.
And
Oh
the
my
first person who calls out these 3 references to Elvis Presley will get a tangible gift from. We'll let you know. We have a bunch of those. Tim, you're going to take care of that for us, which we'll mail to you, dice sets, things like that. But our tangible reward is going to be for the first person who points out the Elvis Presley references in the campaign. So
You can participate, right?
I hope we
I
don't run into
guess.
any hound dogs out there.
I was gonna say too.
anyways, so that's all I have. Do you guys have anything?
No,
Thank
looking
you,
forward to
Dave.
this
Oh.
adventure.
Yeah.
All right. I think that this will be the end of our session 0. And
Sweet.
you know what? I hope
Visible confusion. Dude, Dave, thanks so much. This is a great session 0.
to
Hell yeah.
have you all join us
Thank you to everyone watching.
for the start. Wales from the Husk Valley.